think I'll still choose an alpha person, like if I had a choice, because I think that someone who's able to make decisions, someone who's able to be honest about how they feel, really is attractive to me. I find it hot, and I'm ready to go on with that dynamic. But in theory, when we are having those heated discussions and arguments, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this worth it? To me, alpha and beta exist within a world of like a pack or a unit. So an alpha is usually someone who leads a pack or the unit, and the beta is the follower. So I don't feel like alpha and beta can exist outside of this unit. And like if you look at a person in a dark room and he's lying in the middle of the night looking up at the wall, I don't think alpha or beta matters. So I think it's always interdependent to the people around you or the situation that you're in.
So the way I see it, like an alpha is sort of like rock solid, while the beta is more softer, more malleable, gives in more because they want to meet the needs and wants of the other person, and they believe this helps the collective relationship.
So you feel like the alpha is more individualistic in the sense where he or she knows what they want, but they're doing it for themselves, whereas the beta is the opposite.
I would say most of the time, these needs and wants align for the benefit of the relationship.
In that instance, right, do you think that alphas are like generally have a bad connotation? Because in your definition, alphas are always the ones that are trying to meet their own needs instead of
right.
others.
I wouldn't say bad connotation, just dominant. They're more dominant in terms of their needs and wants.
Okay.
And for me, like, sometimes it's nice just meeting those needs and wants. Yeah. It's nice to make the other person happy and just like, yeah.
For sure. I think it's very difficult to categorize who is an alpha, who is a beta, but the way I look at it is someone can have alpha traits and someone can also have beta traits, you know. So I guess like the term of like how do you categorize them would reflect on how much more alpha traits they have in comparison to their beta traits. So I feel that in many instances that you don't have to, that doesn't always have to be an alpha, that doesn't always have to be a beta, you know, and it depends on like the situation at hand. But to me, I agree more with Tahira's terminology of like what a beta is. So someone that is not afraid to listen to orders to follow. But that doesn't mean that it's actually a bad thing, you know, because I feel in every unit or in every work group, right, if everyone is an alpha, it's never going to work out because everyone has an opinion and nobody wants to follow the leader, right, or who the leader is. So there has to always be a certain amount of betas, and there also has to always be someone that leads.
The guy that I'm chasing right now, both are sort of like beta in a way, and it was a struggle at first. He is okay with anything. I want to fulfill what he wants, and then it's just.
Do you feel like it's a vicious cycle?
Yes, it's a vicious cycle. So it's just two people just like sitting down there. I mean, yeah, nothing. So, but sometimes, like this, you have to be alpha or beta. It depends on the situation, and like if the situation calls for it. Sometimes doing what I want, but in a way that he likes.
How I came about understanding that, okay, maybe sometimes being the alpha all the time is not good was just through the previous relationships. Like, I want to say a lot of times problems came out from just me being like too dominant or like me wanting my way, right? Everything else is wrong. And then it got me thinking like, okay, you know, this is probably not going like after so many relationships, right? There's definitely something that has to be wrong.
I think when two alphas get into an argument, it's very heated because both sides want to have a point of view, and then, you know, like it can get super intense. It takes a lot to like sit down and be like, okay, what is the real issue? I think it's important for one person to, or actually both parties, to really just step down and look at the problem as it is, and not from like alpha or beta or whatever. It's just like, what is the problem? What caused it? What could we do better? What did we do wrong? And then like become better in your relationship from there.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's okay to put your ego aside because like I feel, right, what's most important at the end of the day is the benefit of both of us. It's not only just like if I'm happy and if she's not happy, then what's the point, right?
I think there's like a connotation, like stereotype that alpha is better, beta is lesser. But I personally disagree with it because it's like saying, oh, being extroverted is better than being introverted, but it's just two different things. But I think there is beauty in that silence. There's strength in being passive also. It's just unseen, but just because it's unseen doesn't mean it's not there.
Do you feel it's something that can be changed though?
I think like how people can change, people's personality can change. I think certain life events can affect how alpha, how beta you are. So it's a bit of both, like nurture versus nurture. Yeah, so it's a bit of both.
I think I'd still choose an alpha person, like if I had a choice, because I think that someone who's able to make decisions, someone who's able to be honest about how they feel, really is attractive to me. I find it hot, and I'm ready to go on with that dynamic. But in theory, when we are having those heated discussions and arguments, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this worth it? And it feels like, in theory, that a beta person would be easy to work with, but that's a sham and it's a lie. There are difficulties in both sides lah. So that's just the truth for me.
In every relationship, right, it's always a matter of compromise. And yeah, I guess like, you know, to a certain extent, you can always find someone that clicks with you instantly, but you will never find a relationship in anywhere in the world where things are always going right and there will always be problems here and there. And for me, like being able to learn from my previous relationships, because I'm being too alpha, and sometimes it's nice to just compromise and take a step back and be beta at times. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And actually, I want to see it definitely benefits and adds more to my current relationship now.
I think when it comes to love, it's not just about finding someone, it's also about becoming. I think like, don't just be too focused on finding someone that fits your personality, but become someone, the best version of yourself that can be loved. Yeah, I think that's something that I've learned throughout as I got older.